Hey guys, Jace from Points Nerd here with the first of what I hope to be many videos for the blog. Now, being that it's the first video and I'm not a video editor by any means, please let me know if the audio, video, or lighting is off, and I will try to address those for the future. Now, the question is, why am I doing these video blogs or vlogs for travel hacking? And the reason is that a lot of my posts you'll find can be quite lengthy. And the reason for that is that I want to try to provide as much information in as clear and concise fashion as possible. But I realize that not everybody learns the same way. Sometimes, looking at a blog post that's quite long can be quite intimidating. So when I do come across large multi-tiered concepts, I'm going to try to have a video companion that will walk you through it as well, so that it'll kind of give you a basis to tackle some of the reading in the posts, help you give you a better understanding of what's going on. Now that the blog's been going on for about 6 months, I get quite a few emails from readers asking me questions about some of the concepts that I cover in the posts, or some of the issues that they face that I may not have covered. And typically what I'll do is respond back in email, but sometimes it's just too complicated of an issue to try to respond in a short, concise email. So what I'll sometimes do is make that into a blog post. But in lieu of that, what I want to try to do is to actually respond to a reader question via video. Now, one of my new readers, his name's Santiago, was reading my blog post and had a question. So Santiago flies from Toronto to Madeira between Christmas and New Year's almost every year, and he's been having problems finding availability for flights that don't charge him fuel surcharge. What he's typically seeing is tickets around $500 in taxes, which is fairly high. Not the highest I've seen, but certainly fairly high. And he's saying that unless he travels with a 3-stop connection through Brussels or Warsaw, most of the times he's not finding anything that is coming in without fuel surcharge. Now, he's been taking his membership rewards points from American Express and cashing those in at fixed values for a revenue ticket to Madeira. Now, that is typically very poor value because you're getting about 1 cent per point when you're doing that. And typically when you're cashing in points for a reward flight, on an economy flight, you're looking for at least 2 to 4 points, or 2 to 4 cents per point when you're cashing in for economy, and typically 8 to 10 to 15 cents per point for business. Kind of depends on the route and how complicated you get. Now, he's asking me, is he missing something in the hacking game, or is it simply the particular destination and time of year that is making it very difficult for him to find anything that is going to allow him to redeem for rewards? Now, what I would typically do here is I would jump into some of the tools that I've been talking about in other posts. The first one would be the Star Alliance map. The reason being is that membership rewards transfer at a 1-to-1 ratio to Aeroplan, and that's typically the award program that most Canadians use. So Aeroplan, which is the award program for Air Canada. Air Canada is part of Star Alliance, so you can fly any airline within the Star Alliance with Aeroplan points. Now, what we're going to look for is airlines that actually fly into Madeira. So FNC is the airport. It's in Portugal, and when we look at it, you'll actually see that it's a small island off the coast of Portugal, and you can see that while it's very small, it is serviced by a few airlines. So we take a look at the list here, and the list pops up with 4 airlines. So we've got Brussels, Lufthansa, TAP, 5, SAS, and Austrian. Of the airlines that are there, the only 2 that don't charge fuel surcharge are Brussels and SAS. Brussels is fantastic because we know that, or I know just from experience that Brussels will fly direct from Toronto to Lisbon, and now we know that we can go from Lisbon to Madeira. So it's just a single stop, which is pretty fantastic for an award flight to Europe. The other airline that we could look at with no fuel surcharge is SAS or Scandinavian. But unfortunately, Scandinavian doesn't fly out of Canada, so there would be a connection through the U.S. Most likely, if you're in Toronto, would be through Newark and New York, so EWR, and so that would be two stops. So it'd be Toronto to New York to Lisbon, or sorry, to Stockholm, and then Stockholm to Madeira. So that would be our second choice. So I would say that you certainly can find availability on non-fuel surcharge airlines to your destination of Madeira. However, one of the things I found when I was doing a little bit of research was that Madeira's, while it's serviced by a few airlines, is not that well serviced. So if we look at Brussels Air, which is IATA code SN, and we look from FNC to BRU, we can see that Brussels services it, but only on Saturdays, and it's one flight a day. So that may be an issue that you have had, Santiago, is that you may have been looking for availability on other dates other than Saturdays. So being that they only fly one day a week, you're probably going to have a hard time finding availability. Now, if we were going to look at Stockholm ARN let's change this to SK, which is SAS, and we're going ARN to FNC. Oh, it's saying that there are no routes. So it could be that SAS, it shows as a route that is serviced by SAS. It could be a seasonal route, which could be your second issue. I did take a look on Google Flights just before I started shooting this video, and I did see that the only options that tended to show up were with TAP. So it could be a seasonality issue where they don't always fly to Madeira. So, I mean, I guess, to answer your question, Santiago, are you missing something, or is it the particular destination and time of year that are making it difficult for you? I would say that you're 100% right in that it is just a very small airport that doesn't have a lot of airlines that service it, as well as trying to find availability during Christmas tends to be very difficult. So, unfortunately, there is no magic bullet here. If you are finding good value in terms of the fixed value redemptions through membership awards, I would say keep doing it. Though you're only getting 1 cent per point, the fact that you're able to find availability does kind of lend itself to the fact that it is potentially good value for you. That's one of the things that I like to try to convey, is that there are no magic bullets in this travel hacking game. Sometimes you're just not going to find the availability, and you have to fall back to a plan B. For Santiago here, it's the redemption on fixed value points with membership awards. For you, it might be something else. It might be cashing in points for another alliance that might get you there, or using or just buying a revenue ticket. That's kind of your last ditch option. There's always going to be a revenue ticket available to you, and while that's not the best answer, because that's not the reason we get in the game, we do it to try to redeem points. Sometimes you are going to unique destinations that just don't have the award availability, so save your points for something that can give you better value. I wish I had a better answer for you, Santiago, but that's kind of the way things shake out for you. Unfortunately, there is no magic bullet here, and again, I trying not, in my blog posts, I try not to sugarcoat everything. There are some blog posts that will either A, not show you how to do things, or B, tell you that it's very easy to do these things, when in fact it's not. A lot of blogs out there are just out there trying to get your affiliate links, and I don't necessarily believe in that, though it does help the blog. I want to tell you the truth. So sometimes you are just going to have troubles finding availability. It's not just as easy as snapping your fingers and cashing in your points. Sometimes you're going to have to do a little research, and oftentimes you'll have to have a plan B. If you're going to more common destinations during less busy times, non-peak periods, you're going to have a lot easier of a time. So just keep that in mind while you're playing this travel hacking game. And, that's kind of all I've got for Santiago. Like I said, I wish I had better news, but it's just where you're going and the time of year just makes it really difficult. So with that, I think I'll end this first video. And like I said, if you have any comments, please feel free to share them with me, and I'd certainly keep them in mind for future video posts. Thanks very much. Signing off for now.